Good morning and welcome.
Good morning. Today's November 30th,
My goodness.
2025.
And for those of you that are watching from all over the world, you all need to know that today is Judah's 51st birthday.
Yes, plus or minus a few decades.
Yeah.
Yes, and our topic today is we're doing what everybody else is doing, which is bringing Christmas to the fore. So our topic today is about Advent. Um, Advent means before the coming of Jesus. So, but that's what this whole season is called, Advent. And we are awakening memories of goodness because there are no better memories than all the memories of our childhood Christmases.
Memories of goodness.
Memories of
That's
goodness.
really interesting because I think so often, what's really interesting to me is our kids, until until they have kids of their own, tend to remember the things that weren't so good. Once they have kids of their own, they start remembering all the good things, which is really interesting. You weren't that good a parent until they have to parent, and it's like, whoa, this is a job, which is really interesting. But it is interesting to start looking back at the good that has happened over our lifetime, and I think that's a key actually to brain health as well. And I say brain health, I mean that every time we look back on trauma, a part of our brain re-experiences it and awakens all of the trauma reactions that are alive and well in the brain. Every time we look for something good, something positive, we look at something that happened that made us feel good, we're actually retraining the brain. And so, from the standpoint of our spiritual nature, it's hard to be spiritual when your brain's in trouble.
Mm-hmm.
And so, this is really this topic today really is also about brain health, taking care of yourself and remembering the good.
Exactly. And for many of us, the Christmas trees, the Christmas decorations bring back all those memories of fun Christmases in your childhood. And it just makes us happy, which is great, because December, not in Florida, but in most places, that is the darkest, coldest month of the year,
Yeah.
and was in the Holy Land too, by the way. And so we put lights up, and we celebrate and make it one of the most wonderful times of the year.
Most of you aren't old enough to remember this, but the first thing that came to mind when Judith talked about the Christmas tree was we used to have these. They looked like candles that bubbled up to the top, and then they would bubble up
There
to
were
the top.
bubbles inside the liquid.
Yeah, and they were. I don't know why they were so fascinating, but I would watch
They were
them.
fascinating.
And I think it was the original.
Hypnotizing.
I think it was the original lava light,
Yes.
or lava lamp.
And the tinsel. We used to.
Oh my God, we had
trees.
tinsel. We had so much tinsel, and I'm seeing trees now that are basically naked. And I don't understand it.
But when I lived in Germany, they only put white candles on their trees, or that they did at that time. This was quite a long time ago,
Yeah.
in the 60s.
Everything for us is quite a long time ago.
And they would only put them up Christmas Eve. They would light the candles Christmas Eve.
Yeah, because it's a fire hazard.
Yes, and every year at least one house burned because they would leave them lit, I guess, at night.
Well,
But
they lit candles and they drank.
they did that too.
Yeah,
That's true.
that's a bad combination.
And and my husband at the time, different husband, was an airline pilot. And so when they would see on our second floor apartment blinking colored lights, they said, we can tell Herr Wagner is a pilot. He likes blinking lights like the airplane.
Airport, right?
Because our trees were totally different from theirs. But at any rate, I want to get to a quote from Pope Benedict the 16th, which is where the title today comes from. He says, "It is a beautiful task of Advent to awaken in all of us memories of goodness and thus open the doors of hope." So this season, and in many places, Advent calendars and Advent wreaths are very popular, celebrating the 4 weeks of Christmas. And I had never seen this until I was in Germany. But again, well, I always had an Adventskranz, they called it, had 4 candles, And they taught me how to do this. You only light one candle the first week of December, another candle, so you can light two candles the second week, three the third, and of course four on the fourth. And they stand for, let's see, where can I find it? There are four characteristics of those different weeks. I'll find it here in a minute. Here it is. The candles, the first week you celebrate hope, the second week peace, the next week joy, and the last week love, leading up to the birth of Jesus, which we really don't know if we really think that December 25th was not Jesus's birthday, but we don't know
He was
when his
actually on
birthday was.
vacation in the Caribbean in December.
We just don't know. It wasn't important to anybody at the time. And so we have no idea. We think the story of the shepherds watching their flocks by night, which would have been in springtime, are also not true. That was probably a made up story. Because really, when someone is special, when someone is a saint, or in Jesus's case, the Son of God, you make their birth very special. And so the three kings coming to bring
Well,
gifts,
and
well,
there's other
that's very
religions.
special.
There's other religions that have had their king be the virgin of a virgin birth as well.
Virgin births are very big.
Yeah.
Yes, the Buddha was born from his mother's side.
Right.
It's just a
He
virgin
was
birth also.
very busy, didn't have time to stop.
So, but at any rate, I love these themes, and I loved the Adventskrantz, or the Advent wreath. I was trying to think of the word for krantz, and they make Christmas very special. It is an anticipation of joy and fun, and there's nothing better than buying gifts for people. I always found that a lot more fun than getting gifts is what I'm going to buy and give, and it's a great thing to do in December, which is a cold, dark time for most people.
I really think of Christmas as a spiritual coming out party, and a spiritual coming out party of hope and joy. All of those four virtues you've talked about they're the awakening, or the opening for spirituality, for our spirituality, and for the Christ consciousness that is our consciousness also, that is shared, to be awakened. When you think,
Exactly.
how can you be spiritually awake if you have no hope, if you have no joy, if you have no love? And so these four items, or these four things that are being awakened in us during this season and talked about, are really the advent of our own awakening, which is really, really
Truly,
important.
truly. So I want to get back to this December 25th, just because for me it's very interesting, the origins of holidays that we designate. And Saturnalia was the big festival of the Romans at this time of year. And most cultures had some big celebration when it was darkest and coldest. And the Romans put candles and lights on trees. Well, they didn't have electric lights then, so they had to be candles on trees. And the 25th was this big celebration, Saturnalia. And that was probably honoring the god Saturn. But the church, which designated this when it did, and I don't even know when that was, but it wasn't. It was at least after 350 years after Jesus died, that they designated things like, let's celebrate this day for Jesus's birthday. We don't know when he really was born, but let's use this time because we're borrowing from celebrations and traditions that already happen when a lot of people are already doing. So it makes it an easy transition.
Take as much of the old that is useful and marry it to the new, and people will comfortably move in the direction of changing their religious background. That was a huge step.
Exactly. Yeah. Just like Easter falls on the time of the celebrations of
When it's solstice.
no, it's Easter is March, it's March, April. So it's always, it was the celebration of fertility, actually.
Yeah.
Fertility. That's why we have rabbits and things like that bunny rabbits. And I'm trying to think of the weaving of the May flag that was a weaving of boys and girls going out. So it was all a fertility festival. And so we joined um, the resurrection and all of that, the crucifixion and resurrection with that time, so that it could be a really big Christian holiday during that time. So that's some history for you that I think is interesting. But of more interest is this idea. Our first month, our first week, we focus on hope, because stuff happens. And stuff is happening in our life right now that's not hopeful and is not happy. And we want this time to be a time of happiness. So we focus on that.
So hope is the willingness to believe that things could be better, or that things will get better, or that there is the possibility of things changing in the direction that you would like to see them go. It doesn't have the physical evidence to support it, but it isn't a huge stretch to imagine it. And so hope without a plan is a lot more difficult than hope with a plan. But a plan can't exist if there's no hope. And so we really have to say, I am hopeful, and this is a direction that I want to move in. And the first thing we can do to be hopeful is to change our mind about being hopeless, to change our mind about things not working, and say, so far, this is what's happened. This is the way things have been. Years ago, when Judith and I were driving our not so able Sable station wagon through Utah, I think it was, or Nevada, I think it was Nevada, and the car died. There was no way in the middle of nowhere that we were going to get help. If you looked at the situation, you would say, well, Bob and Judith died in Nevada.
That was Utah.
Utah. And that's how it happened, and we're sorry. Who would have guessed that a pickup truck with a young man and his daughter would stop and not only take Judith to a place where we could get help, but bring her back?
This is the days before cell phones.
Yeah. I mean, there we were, totally stranded, hopeless, but we both knew there's always a way. There's something good
Yeah,
come out of
and
this.
the car broke down where there was a beautiful stream and running through a valley that we just walked out to to enjoy the beauty of the wildflowers. It was really a gorgeous area.
And so it was a circumstance of hopefulness. And every time we enter into a circumstance that doesn't appear to have any hope, then what we need to do is to change our mind about it and say, this isn't hopeless. This is what we're dealing with right now, but it's not hopeless.
And the thing about Utah is Mormon people are really family people. So this young man stopped to pick me up on the side of the road.
Yeah, you say that, but I think he wanted another wife.
and and he had with him a baby. I turned around, coming from Florida where nobody trusts anybody, especially any stranger in a car, to have a baby in the back seat, and he picks up a stranger and takes her somewhere. I just think they are the kindest, sweetest people, wholesome. They're very wholesome. And it was quite a lesson for us when we were hopeless.
Right. So this is our way of telling you we're moving to Utah. Not
I have
really.
family in Utah now.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. So I hope this brings you hope in this month, because we can focus on a lot of negative things that are going on in our opinions, and and just ruin your holiday season, your sense of happiness and hope. So let's focus on the good things. I remember when we were old enough as teenagers to start buying presents, and this is a big shift from always receiving presents under the tree from Santa Claus and our parents. And we had so much fun, but I had sisters about my age. We didn't know where to stop. Wanted to buy presents for aunts and uncles, wanted to buy presents for friends. And I'm surprised my mother let us buy all the presents we did, but we didn't know where to stop. We didn't know what the guideline for who you give gifts to. And I just think that's interesting. And the same thing happened after I was first married. And so here we were making money and on our own. How about I wasn't making money, but my husband was. And so we bought presents. I think we must have, we were in Tucson, we went to Mexico. We bought presents for aunts and uncles. We just didn't know where to stop. We got presents for everybody because it feels so good, to do that when when you think you can.
What a different kind of problem to have than I don't know where to start.
Mm, mm,
So often we don't know how to start celebrating our good. We don't necessarily want to celebrate Christmas because it's a shift away from worry and isolation and the traffic on
and
I-95
more worry.
and more worry and what's going to break next. And we have a lot of that angst goes on all the time. And and I think part of that is we try to anticipate bad things in order to curtail their occurrence. But in trying to anticipate, we're actually inviting in this worry that this can overtake us. And so I love what you're
Mhm,
talking about I don't know where to stop when it comes to giving. And if you don't have to give a present,
mhm,
we had a
mhm.
neighbor step out into our walkway, and she was apologizing for something. I said, "No, that's not a problem." I said, we're family." And she said, "Oh, wow, yeah, we are." And that's a giving, that's a gift. And she accepted the gift. She was delighted. The gifts you
It
can
just
give.
warmed her heart.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, the gift you can give is your consciousness. The gift you can give is the willingness to see anything that's positive and say something about it. If you see it, say it. We're so accustomed to if you see it, say it, meaning if something bad looks like it's going to happen, tell somebody. If something good looks like it's going to happen, tell somebody. Tell somebody about the good you're seeing and the good you're feeling and the good you're experiencing. And again, I want to go back to it's brain treatment as well as spiritual treatment. You're
Mhm.
conditioning your whole body to look forward to living rather than to, I don't know how long we can do this. I don't know what's going to be next. And the things aren't the way they used to be. I mean, I hear these statements all the time, and they're giving up statements. They're worthlessness statements, and the body listens to this and says, "Oh, we're quitting. Okay, I got it." And people check out.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you need to check in. Check in with your heart and say, what is it we need to celebrate today? First off, that it's beating is a good thing. Secondly, is what's going on if you look out the window and what's going on that is alive and that is inviting aliveness. I saw a great YouTube or a great Facebook post, and I posted it on my Facebook if you had a chance to see it. A woman who is feeling isolated and alone, and she's okay with it. And a crow is knocking on her glass window. She opens it, and the crow comes in, sits on her hand, and now, years later, that crow spends half of its time with her. And she says, we talk, we share. And, if you can talk to a crow, you can talk to the crow inside of you that's crowing about things that aren't so good and say, really, we've got something.
Well, and gifts don't have to be just at Christmas time.
No, oh,
We
please
have
no.
we
This is
have
the warm up time.
a next door neighbor who has been ill and is having difficulty walking and whatnot. And we just cleaned out a
Yes.
storage, what do you call it? Room, a
Yeah.
storage
A
room.
storage debt.
And in it, Bob found he had written a story about a caterpillar and a butterfly, and he had bought these little stuffed toys. One's a caterpillar, one's a butterfly. And he's going, what are we going to do with these things now? And he decided to give our neighbor the butterfly, which is beautiful. It's about this big and it's a beautiful,
It's a
colorful
stuffed
butterfly.
toy.
Stuffed toy. And what did you tell her?
I told her that it represented her recovery. It represented her getting better and having wings and being able to fly. And
And she
she,
is so
oh,
thrilled. Oh, she has it out in her living room on her chair to remind her. She is just thrilled with this gift. And so it doesn't have to be Christmas time
no,
to give
it can
little
even
gifts.
be something that you were even thinking about throwing away and or giving away.
Right.
Like this is, and it's easy to say that the things you have are in the way or junk. Maybe not. We started looking at some of the glassware we have and the chinaware we have that, or not china, but potteries that we have. I used to go to art shows and I would trade my artwork for pottery. Well, I have quite a bit of pottery. And I found one piece of
Beautiful fun.
beautiful pottery, but we have too much. So I took one of the pieces into work and gave them to one of the nurses that works there. And this is so beautiful. I had no reason to do it. And she just was so tickled to have a beautiful piece of pottery from out of nowhere.
I know, that's so nice. So all of this can bring us hope, brings us joy too, but we're focusing on hope right now.
Yeah.
I think we do need to think positive, allow ourselves to feel joy of the season. That's what this is about. And even though we don't have snow around here, we don't get any white Christmases, we certainly have plenty to celebrate. My goodness, it's about time.
I know we're moving quickly, but we have an announcement.
We do have an announcement. Um, we have decided that it is time for us to retire. It's just time. And for me, having trouble with my eyes, and so everything is more difficult for me with the computer and the posting and all of that. So we have decided that uh, our last Sunday, we haven't even picked the last Sunday, but it's the last Sunday in December. So the end of this year, we'll be retiring, and it probably will be the retirement of the Center for Spiritual Living of the Palm Beaches, because I don't know anybody who wants to take it over. So this is our announcement to you about that, and we have very mixed feelings about stopping because we love this, and yet you just get a sense when it's time.
Right. And for those of you that have been watching us for a long time, this is a 25 to 30-minute talk that takes us yesterday and today to prepare for. And our preparation is more efficient than it used to be because we've been doing this a long time, but there is a lot. So, we're looking at claiming our Sundays and even our Saturdays that are often spent in preparation. The preparation, what is the theme? What are we going to do? What are we going to talk about? How can we do this? And trying to deliver something to every one of you that has value. And so it's not something we just glibly do. It's something we really give a lot of attention to. We've really also appreciated the family that we've created and the support that that family has given both the center financially and to us emotionally, because our talks have not just been for you, they've been for us as well.
It's another birthday wish.
We're going to get lots of them. So we're going to go to the share screen now. Is that what you want to do?
We stopped first.
Okay.
Stop recording.
Yeah.